Okay, hello. I'm here. This is Marietta with Little Dreamers Baby Sleep Consulting, and I'm here to answer your questions and hopefully help you and your babies and kids get sleeping better. So, just to get the ball rolling, I'm going to share how I got my 4-year-old to go to bed an entire hour earlier than normal. So, at our house, we have some rules around dinner time. And my oldest, who is 4, is a picky eater. So he had a lot of food allergies his first 2 years of life. And so we've been able to work on those. He now is only allergic to peanuts. So that's awesome because we were gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free, peanut-free, pepper-free, mushroom-free, a lot of frees that I did not enjoy being for about 1.5 to 2 years. And so because of that, he has a hard time trying new foods because I'm a routine person. And so once I found foods that worked for his allergies, I kind of stuck with those. Like we ate the same gluten-free, dairy-free, egg-free waffles all the time. We did a lot of oatmeal. So there's a lot of things that we did a lot of, and he's fine with eating those, but new foods are really hard for him to want to try. Usually once he tries them, he's fine. Anyways, this is taking longer. About his food allergies, it's not about his food allergies, this is about his sleeping. So the rule at dinner time is he has to, this is a specific rule for him because my twins that are 2 eat mostly anything. So a specific rule for him is he has to try what we're eating for dinner, just one bite, in order to have something else. Like I'd give him like an apple or a banana or something. I've never actually had to give him anything because once he tries it, he likes it and he'll eat it. So that's a good rule for him in our home right now. But the second part of the rule is if you don't try it, which means you're not eating anything for dinner, you have to go to bed because kids who don't eat are super grumpy. And I don't like to mom kids who don't eat / don't sleep. So I haven't really been cooking a ton in my house. Oh yeah, because I haven't gone grocery shopping in literally 3 weeks. So 3 weeks of no grocery shopping, we had no food. So we were eating like, you know what you eat, things that you can pull out of your pantry, like, spaghetti and tuna and things that he's like totally fine eating. So it's been a good few weeks for him, not so good for mom. So finally went grocery shopping on Monday. Yes, today's Wednesday, so that makes sense. Monday, I made enchiladas today. I tried a new recipe. I made not only like what we ate, but like 2 freezer meals. Like I kind of rocked it today. And then dinner time came. And the whole time I'm making this, my son's telling me, Mom, I'm going to eat all of that and I'm going to love it. And that's my first clue that it's going to be a rough dinner because whenever he says that, I know we're in for trouble. So we sit down to eat, I dish him up, I put whatever they want on it, and he won't. Dinner was a little bit later. I hadn't given him a snack. It's a little bit later, so he's already like hangry, I guess is the right word. And my twins just start gobbling it up. Like it was good. They liked it, but he wouldn't even try it. And I had mommed well all day today. Like I had really been on the ball. I planned a play date. I made an awesome dinner. Like my kids got to do Play-Doh and like just like fun things. Like I was really present with my kids and it felt like a good day. But when dinner time hit, like I just was kind of done. I was tired for the day and he didn't want to eat. And I was like, nope. My husband had literally 1 hour between work and then some stuff that he has on Wednesday nights. So I was like, hey, you hang out with the twins. And I took my son up 6 o'clock. I took him up. We get his jammies on the whole time he's crying. And I said, hey, you know the rule. Either you eat your food, you try your food, right? One bite, you try your food, or you have to go to bed. And I've done this in the past, and he's always gotten to the point where he wants to try his food, which is fine because then he tries it, he likes it, he eats it, he gets a full tummy, and then he goes to bed at the regular time. I'm happy with that because he's not hangry. Tonight was the first night that he did not want to try his food. So I originally left him in his room at 6. He came down at 6:30. He wanted these monkey pajamas and I couldn't find them. And I told him to go back up in his room. I'd look one more place. I looked one more place. They were there. I took him up to him. I just gave it to him in his bed and left. And that was at 6:30 and I have not seen him since. And when I went to go put my twins to bed at 7:30, he was conked out. And I was like, okay, apparently he needed some extra sleep. And can I just tell you, I'm still a little bit floored that he fell asleep, at probably around, I'm guessing, around 7. Like he was in there for maybe half an hour. I'm like floored that he fell asleep because he slept in this morning until like almost like it was like 7:30, 7:45, which is like almost an hour longer than normal. So he must need some extra sleep. I will say that I know why he slept in this morning, and this is me like covering my eyes out of embarrassment, like telling you all what to do, but not always following my own advice. So I have noise machines, but one of them broke, and I don't really like the other one. Like they're the same kind, and one of them broke, and one of them is fine, but I don't love it. So I finally splurged and bought the noise machine that I recommend to everyone that I work with because it's my favorite one. I have it at my office. I'm a therapist on the side, so I have it there, and it's awesome because it sounds like a real fan instead of like not like a fake like machine noise. Does that make sense? So it's a real fan, but there's no air in it. So with like the cooler temperatures, and if you're using a fan because it's been summer, it's been hot, and you need a noise machine now for winter because it's cold, getting colder. Okay, it's not winter yet, but we played in snow the other day, so in the mountains, so it feels like it's winter already to me. But if you need a fan sounding noise machine that doesn't blow air, you need to get this one. And I will link it because I'm not going to be able to link it right now. I don't have it right now, but it's my favorite one. And if you go to my blog, actually, it's already linked in. There's a blog post all about the environment, like the perfect sleep environment. And there's a link that talks about noise machines, and there's a link to this favorite one of mine. So I think that's why I slept in this morning, and I'm hoping that's why he was able to fall asleep. I turned it on at 6:30, and he couldn't hear us playing and having fun, and so he fell asleep. And I am so grateful because I needed that break. Again, I want to be a good mom, and when my kids go to bed early and I get a break, I'm a better mom for my kids. So early, and they're better too because they're happier and they feel better. So there's my story for you. That took longer than I wanted. So and also just a heads up of what's going on for Little Dreamers. I'm scheduled with KSL Studio 5 on Monday. So I'm super excited. We're doing a segment called Baby Sleep and the Lies Moms Tell Themselves. So, and I'm also writing a blog post, so I'll put that up around the same time, but it is going to be a lot of fun. I'm really excited about that. Also, if you haven't subscribed yet, go to my website, subscribe for my newsletter. You will get free access to my newborn survival sleep guide. So that's a super easy way to get some help with newborns. Tell your friends and family, it's super easy to get. And then also just a heads up, next week, I won't be doing my live Q&A because I'll be doing one in person in Harriman, Utah on Thursday morning. So if you're in the area or not in the area but want some more help, it'll be more helpful than a Q&A online because you'll be there and we can kind of talk back and forth. I can ask questions, you can answer them. It'll be so much better. I wish I could do that all the time, and lots of people just show up, but life is busy and life is hard, so it doesn't work that way. But I will be doing one next week, Thursday morning at 10, and if you go to my Facebook page and look at my post, I've posted the event there, and I can link it here in the comments after this video is over, so you can check it out there too. So without further ado, thanks for joining me. It's good to see you, and let's get started with some questions. Okay, so we'll start with Katie Kirk. And she says, my baby was doing so good, sleeping 8 to 10 hours every night, which is amazing because I know her baby is around 4 months, so that's awesome. Now he's waking up at least once and sometimes 2 to 3 times. So how do I get him to go back to sleeping long stretches again? He's 4 months old. Okay, Katie, so he could be waking up for a lot of different reasons. It's hard for me to know for sure without more information. So here are my guesses. My first guess would be a 4-month sleep regression. So the best way to get him to recover from that is to sleep train him. And I know that you were thinking about sleep training, and I don't know if you're putting it off or if you've already tried it, but that's the best way to get over that 4-month sleep regression is to sleep train. And I know you know what that is. If you don't know what that is, go to my blog. There's the frequently asked questions about sleep training, and it'll lay it all out for you. That's my first guess. My second guess is that maybe his schedule's off a little bit. Sometimes if a child is overtired or getting too much sleep during the day, so the two extremes, right? Not enough sleep and too much sleep, it can mess up their night sleep. So that could be happening. Again, my first thing would be, is he sleep trained? Because if he's sleep trained, it could fix the problem, and it allows us to look at other things and say, oh yeah, well, it might be this or it might be that. But without a sleep trained baby, it's really hard to say. So that's what I would do with sleep train. Okay, we're gonna go to Shantae Williams. She says, so I'm a nanny and the baby will be 2 the end of October. He still isn't sleeping through the night. That's so hard. I don't know how moms do it. Lately, he has been refusing to take his nap in the afternoon. Also super hard. Yeah, poor kid. He is way tired. He's so tired he doesn't want to sleep. Or it's hard for him to sleep. Usually, I try to lay him down at 1 p.m. to nap. I'm there Wednesdays and Fridays and sometimes a few extra days. He has a full belly and is given a bottle of milk to sleep with still. But he freaks out when I lay him down. He screams and cries and usually makes himself throw up within 3 minutes of crying. I'll clean him up and lay him down again and he still cries. Yeah, so a couple questions I have. I mean, it sounds like a 2-year sleep regression where he just is fighting sleep for whatever reason right now. And I don't love the going down with a bottle, because if he needs a bottle, I don't know if he needs a bottle to sleep. Maybe he doesn't need it at night or something. But if he's going down with a bottle and he needs that to sleep, that can hinder sleep, and that will really make regressions hard. I'm going to keep reading your question before I offer some more comments, though. Mom has never really done Cry It Out with either of her older 2 and doesn't like doing it with baby either, but he needs to sleep because he's so grumpy if he doesn't. Yeah, so I agree he needs to sleep. Cry It Out is not the only option, and Cry It Out is not the only way to get a child sleep trained. So there's lots of different methods. You can do a no-cry gradual approach. It takes a little bit longer, but you can totally do it. And I think, you know, if that's what she'd feel comfortable with, then that's fine. She can do that as long as she can be consistent with it. That's the most important thing. If you're going to do a slow, gradual approach, you have to be super, super, super consistent over a longer period of time. So that's where parents struggle with that. Is they don't want their child to cry, but they don't want to be consistent. They want to see quick results. So you can have to decide what's more important to you. How long is too long for Cry It Out? So if you do decide to do Cry It Out with her, my rule for naps is you can allow the child to cry for 1 hour. If they don't fall asleep in an hour, you can go in and get them. Again, I'm talking about traditional Cry It Out where you put the child down and you leave and you do not go back in. You can do gradual checks. There's so many options between, you know, not sleep training your child and doing Cry It Out. So don't feel like, and with any option, it's an hour. If the child doesn't fall asleep within an hour, you get them up and you just prepare for an earlier bedtime or earlier next nap by a little bit, but not by a ton. And at that age, it would just be like an earlier bedtime by like 6 p.m. Asleep by 6. So you can put him to bed at like 5:45 if you need to. Is there anything? Oh, and then at nighttime, it's indefinite. Like if you're doing traditional Cry It Out, you put them to bed and then you leave and you don't go back in until they fall asleep. He will fall asleep. Nobody's made it 12 hours. How long have babies made it? It varies. I mean, I've seen kids cry for an hour at night and then get it and they're done. And some kids, it takes longer and they do it for a few nights, or, you know, they'll sleep for a couple hours, they'll cry for an hour, they'll sleep for a couple hours, they'll wake up, cry for a couple hours, you know, it just varies and it just depends. You don't have to do traditional Cry It Out. You can do those gradual checks or anything in between. Okay, so I'll go on. Is there anything else we can do to try and help him take his naps, sleep through the night? We are all at our wit's end of having a grumpy baby who won't sleep. The other thing you could look at is he's probably not going to bed early enough. That's usually what I see. So yeah, I mean, I offer a free 15-minute consultation to answer your questions, give more specific help, because it's a conversation, right? More helpful. I see that Kate Stringham is here, and she took advantage of that and got her little boy sleeping a lot better, so she can vouch for how helpful those conversations can be. We can talk about my sleep plans and see if there's anything that fits. If you need the extra support, extra guidance, all of that stuff. So all of that is talked about in that 15-minute phone call. So some people get the help that they need. It's easy, quick, we can identify it, and there's no need to purchase a plan. Other times, you know, I'll just be upfront with you and say, you can try this, but I don't know if it's going to work because of this, this, and this, and we may need to do something else. But it's always there for you. I'd love to help. My biggest thing, Shantae, is to make sure that you're consistent, right? We've got you, the nanny. I don't know how the mom feels about everything, but you've got to find a plan that she can be consistent with when you're not there. Because if you're doing Cry It Out when you're there, but then he's not getting that when you're gone, it's not going to work very well. he might adjust, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would try to find consistency throughout, and you can do that without cried out. She's not comfortable with that. So yeah, let's sleep train him. You just got to be consistent as far as putting him down for a nap. He has to take a nap every day. So whether he screams or not, that's not my choice. That's his choice. But I'm his parent or his caretaker, and I know that sleep's important, so I'm going to put him down for a nap. So that's a hard situation, but push through, and usually we'll get better. About 2 weeks, I say, for a sleep regression. If things don't get better on their own, then you need some more intervention, but you could also try some of the things that we've talked about. Okay, let's go to Andrea Jones. Me and Andrea went to college together back in the day, so it's fun to see her on here. She says, I have a 3-year-old girl and a 1-year-old girl. They share a room. Both girls usually wake anywhere from 8 to 9. My 1-year-old takes a 3-hour nap, usually around 12:30ish. Can I just say, like, 3-hour nap? That is gorgeous. I don't think that my kids have ever been 3-hour nappers. Sometimes you can get a young child to take a 3-hour nap if they're on a 1 nap, and you've done it. Congratulations on that one. Okay, so she sleeps 12:30 through 30, and then is ready for bed at 7:30 and sleeps until she wakes, like I said, between 8 and 9. Cool. My 3-year-old doesn't nap and is horrible to get to bed. Okay, so the reason your 3-year-old is horrible to get to bed is because she doesn't nap, which is fine. She's 3. You don't have to force a nap on her. But, and I haven't finished reading your question yet, Andrea, so I don't know what you're going to say. I'm just saying, because she's not taking a nap and she's so little, she needs an early bedtime so that she can compensate and like be okay. If you miss that window for getting her to bed early, she like hits her second wind, and then it's going to be super hard for her to fall asleep. So let me see what's going on with the rest of your question. Maybe that's helpful. Maybe it's not. Horrible to get to bed. Okay, since they share a bedroom, I put my younger to bed while my older gets to watch a cartoon. My husband works a rotating shift and is at home at night, so I have to occupy her somehow. And then usually wait until 8:30 for my older to go into bed. She usually throws a fit and wants to watch more TV or says she's hungry. Then she says she's scared, so I have to lay by her until she falls asleep. I try to turn the TV off before and get her to settle down with the book, but like I said, she throws attention to screens. Not sure what to do. Any suggestions are welcome. Okay, so yes, I would actually I would try putting him to bed at the same time. Did you hear me? I would try putting him to bed at the same time. She's going to bed too late. So, okay, so let me back up. First thing I would do is get a consistent wake time for them. I know that's so annoying. Nobody wants to wake their kids up in the morning, least of all me, okay? But when you're having sleep problems, the very first thing you need to do is start in the morning. So choose like a wake time of like 8:30. If they wake up earlier, that's fine. But and give yourself like 15, I like to do 15 minutes when I'm trying to solve problems. You can be a little bit more flexible once you kind of get it solved, but it really helps iron out the rest of the day. So choose a wake time, keep it within 15 minutes of that wake time the best that you can. If they wake up earlier, obviously, what can you do? Then what I would do is I would just try putting them to bed at the same time. If she's waking up, if your 3-year-old is waking up at 8 o'clock, she needs to be asleep by 8 o'clock. So I have zero problem putting them both to bed at 7:30 and see how she does. And I would like maybe try and make it fun for her, like, hey, we're all going to go to bed at the same time. And I don't know what you do for your 1-year-old. If it were me and they shared a room, I'd hope my 1-year-old is still in a crib. My 3-year-old is negotiable. I say leave him in the crib as long as you can, but maybe she's not, and that's fine. But I'd take them both in there and maybe cuddle them or something and read 2 stories. Like they each get up with their own story, but they get to listen to their sibling story, so they get 2 stories. We do books before bed, so whatever your routine is. And then assuming your 1-year-old is sleep trained, you can put her in the crib and she's going to fall asleep on her own. And then if your 3-year-old isn't overtired, she's going to be easier to go to bed. So make sure everything's done. Like make sure, she's gone potty, she has gotten her drink, she doesn't need anything more. And then have a noise machine in there so that they kind of drown out those sounds. And because they're together, the first couple nights they might play a little bit, so your 1-year-old might not go to sleep quite at the same time, but she'll be fine because she's getting that long nap, right? You could potentially let her sleep a little longer in the morning or something like that. But I would put her to bed a lot earlier. She should be getting at least 12 hours at night, at least 12, which means if she's waking up at 8, she needs to be asleep by 8, which means you have to get her in there and give her 15 minutes to kind of settle down and fall asleep by 8. So that's my advice, Andrea. Let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear from you. Okay, Kayla, I'm not even going to attempt your last name. I see that you're here. You clapped your hands in my get my kid to bed a full hour early story. Thank you. I'm horrible at names. If you guys have watched this before, like I butcher every name, and I am sorry for it, and I also feel your pain because no one says my name right either. So Marietta Paxson. There's no T in my name. It's Paxson, and it's not margarita and marijuana. It's just Marietta. Simple, right? So, Kayla, let's read your question. All right, mom of 6-week-old baby girl here. So, Kayla, if you have not signed up for my newborn newsletter, go sign up for it on my website, www.littledreamers.us. There's a little side thing that will appear asking for your email. You will get access to my newborn survivor sleep guide. This 6-week-old little girl will use that until she's about 4 months old. So go sign up for that. That's my first piece of advice, and I haven't even gotten to your question yet. Several questions for you. Okay, 1, she's already dependent on sleeping in the swing for naps, something I'd like to eliminate since our swing is in the living room, the only place it'll fit in our small apartment. And big brother wants to play loudly in the living room, but it wakes her up. Okay. I also want to eliminate it if it's going to hinder sleep training her later. Or is it too early to even think of this now, and I should just let her sleep there? Okay, so let's address that one before I move on. Yeah, so from 0 to 4 months, it's your goal. Do my hands look huge because they're like out there by the camera? It's just, I don't have big hands. Okay. From 0 to 4 months, it is okay to help soothe your child to sleep. Things that work great. Binkies, swings, motion. Great. So it's okay if she's sleeping in her swing. I mean, you could try like turning it off once she falls asleep so she doesn't need like constant motion. You can do that. You don't have to. As far as only having her in the living room, usually at that age, newborns fall right into sleep into a deep sleep cycle. So if she's getting woken up by loud noises because maybe brother is just super loud, get a noise machine for that room and put it by where she's at. She'll probably sleep better. Obviously my first advice would be to put her in her own room, but if there's no room, then, drown out the noise a little bit so she can sleep a little bit better. But it's too early to think about sleep training. Yes, that's at 4 months. Between 0 and 4 months, yeah, you want to do the least amount needed to help your baby sleep because that's the least amount of work for you. But if I have to choose between my child sleeping well and me helping them, does that make sense? The two things I want to help them so that they will sleep well. I'm totally fine giving that help above and beyond whatever they need at that age. And I have a whole video a few weeks back, maybe a month back, talking about can you spoil a newborn. So if you want to go back and watch that one, Kayla, that's a good one. It talks in detail about all of this stuff. And then my newsletter, obviously. Okay, so number 2, she falls asleep around 8:30, 9 p.m. every night. I usually wake her up slightly to feed her around 10:30 so she's topped off before I go to sleep. Should I just let her sleep and let her be to see how long she goes? She usually will wake up around 2:33 to eat after I feed her at 10:30, then wake up around 6:30. She's formula fed and also has reflux. Okay, that's it. Okay, so what you're trying to do there is a dream feed. It's pretty early after she goes to bed. Also, you'll want to gradually shift her bedtime earlier. So she's going to bed at 8:39. I had how old was he? 2 months? He's around 2 months, and he was going to bed at 5 o'clock. That's like the earliest I recommend putting a newborn to sleep, but slowly get that earlier because there's nothing wrong with a dream feed. You can do a dream feed. You want to make sure you're doing it right, though. And the earlier you put into bed and then doing that dream feed before you go to bed can make the longest stretch of night a little bit later instead of having to get up at midnight, right? It kind of stretches it for the longest one while you're sleeping. So start putting her to bed earlier if she needs it. If you notice she starts getting fussy, just put her to bed earlier, 15 minutes, 20 minutes earlier, just a little bit earlier every night and see how early she can get. That way, say she's going to bed at like 6:37, any of that would be a great time for a newborn to go to sleep. And then she's having like a few hours so she can eat more when you go in at 10:30 and then hopefully make it longer because she'll actually get more then. if you want to do the dream feed, you don't want to wake her up. The goal of a dream feed is to get the baby out, feed them while they're still, like they never wake up. You don't want their bodies in the habit of waking up. So by definition, a dream feed is feeding while they're dreaming. So, you know, you're picking her up, you're feeding her the whole time. You don't want her to wake up, and ideally she's not waking up, and then you put her back down to bed and she's just sleeping the whole time. That's what a dream feed would look like. Now, at some point, you're obviously not going to dream feed her because you want her to go as long as possible. It's still fairly early, so I'm fine with a dream feed at this age. You can try it one night, see how she does without it. Sometimes kids don't even need a dream feed, but as parents, we're so anxious and worried about it that we do that. And then when we stop, it's like they didn't even notice. They didn't even need that. But check and see it. Again, she's young, so a dream feed is fine, but you may want to look into it. So there you go. Okay, ooh, guys, I take forever. Okay, Elise. I don't think we have two anymore. So Elise Herrera. How was that? Okay. My 4-month-old sleep regression is terrible. The 4-month is like the worst, you guys. He used to nap 3 to 4 times a day for at least an hour each and then sleep pretty great at night. That sounds like a great sleeper. His naps are now sometimes as short as 20 minutes. He wakes up every 2 hours all night long and sometimes every hour, and can only go back to sleep when I put him on to nurse, which I do because I'm exhausted and just want him to go to sleep. Yeah, this all sounds exactly like a 4-month sleep regression. He sleeps swaddled in the rock and play in our room still. We do the eat, play, sleep method, and I put him down awake and he will fall asleep on his own for naps and bedtime with minimal crying. I need advice for how to get him to sleep longer and how to help him go back to sleep without having to nurse in the middle of the night, please. Okay, so even though you're laying him down awake and it's minimal crying, he's falling right asleep, he's not fully sleep trained because he's not sleeping on a flat surface and he's still being swaddled. So those are still sleep aids. So we got to get rid of those. I'm assuming he's not using a binky. Sometimes, oh, Kayla, you're welcome. I hope it was helpful. So sometimes parents say exactly what you said, and then I find out he's getting a binky to go to sleep. And if he's getting a binky to go to sleep, that's a sleep aid. So he's waking up, right? And he wants maybe the binky back, but my kids never did. They always wanted me to nurse him. So, so you've got to do some sleep training for him. And then I would not recommend feeding him every 2 hours to 1 hour. I'd recommend asking your pediatrician how often you need to feed him and then following that. And then when he wakes up and it's not time to eat, you can't feed him. And so what I would do is I choose your sleep training method, right? You take away the swaddle, you take away, did you say something else? Maybe you didn't. Take away the swaddle, oh, the rock and play. Take him out of the rock and play. You put him in a crib, you put him in a pack and play, so then have a swaddle, and you sleep train him by your preferred method. Cry it out, no cry, gradual. There's lots of, I always give those 3. No cry, cry it out, and gradual. The gradual, there's a range there of what you can do. And then I would do those things to help him fall asleep at night and for his naps, starting at night, and then continue for his naps. And do the same checks when he wakes up at night if it's not time for a feed. If it's time for a feed, you can go ahead and feed him, fine. But I wouldn't recommend feeding him more than twice a night, again, with your pediatrician's approval. So if you're interested in help, my sleep plan package would be perfect. So you can go to my website and sign up for a free 15-minute consultation. We can talk about that, what that would look like for you. And you can do it yourself too, but that's pretty much the outline of what needs to happen. Without that happening, I can't look at other stuff to see what else could be going on because they have to be sleep trained before we can say what's going on, right? Okay. Shannon Hickman. And I remember having a little Facebook conversation with you, Shannon, or messaging or whatever. So I'm glad to see you on here reaching back out. So hopefully this is helpful. I have a 3-year-old who has slept in her own crib and bed on and off, but is back in our bed since we moved. I've probably always been her sleep aid. I tickle her tummy or back and cuddle her or slept on her floor in her room to get her to sleep. I'm wondering now about tips to get her to sleep in her own bed now that she's older and I really want my bed back. We have soft bottles and sippy cups at night and she is fully potty trained. Nice. She also sleeps through the night and still takes a nap with someone laying down with her. Awesome. So what I would recommend, if I'm assuming she's in your bed right now, you're sleeping with her. So what I would recommend at 3 is a slower approach, because I don't believe in crying out for 3-year-olds, because you can talk to them, negotiate with them, motivate them, bribe them, all those things. So I would do a slow approach, and how I would start is by making it fun and saying, hey, we're all going to have a sleepover in your room. You get to sleep in your bed. You're going to pull your mattress into her room, or whatever you were sleeping on the floor with. It's fine. And you're going to have a big sleepover, and it's going to be a lot of fun, but she is going to sleep in her bed. Now, I guess you could do an even slower approach where first you all sleep in your bed again, and then after a couple days, she sleeps in her bed, but you're going to get her in her bed. You can still do all of the things that you're doing. Tuckle. Okay, let's try this again. Tickle, cuddle, whatever you're doing before to get her soothed, that's great. And if she needs to be touching you, that's fine too. Put her in her bed, hold her hand, right? What you're trying to do is minimize the way that you're helping her slowly. So every 3 to 4 days you make a change, right? So if you have to start with her sleeping, all of you sleeping in the same bed, do that, and then put her in her bed, and you're sleeping right next to her and you're touching her. It's fine. And then after 3 to 4 days, you put her in her bed and you touch her, but you only touch her for like 5 minutes. Like, okay, I'm gonna hold your hand, but when this timer goes off, then mom has to let go of your hand and you can hold your own hand, type thing. I mean, I'm giving you examples. However it works, you're slowly minimizing the help that you give her to sleep every 3 to 4 days, so she has time to adjust to it and get prepared for the next change. Eventually, you will be sleeping next to the door and she will be sleeping next to her bed, and then eventually you'll move out into like the living room if that's there, or whatever is outside of her room, and then eventually your bed will be back into your room. Now, because she's gone back and forth, my one piece of advice is to be super consistent about her sleeping in her bed. You sleep in your bed, mommy sleeps in my bed. That's how it works, right? So when she's sick, when it's whatever it is, no exceptions. Have her sleep in her bed. It does not mean you can't comfort her. It does not mean you can't cuddle her. It does not mean you can't help her. It just means that that's the rule and there's nothing you can do about it. That's the rule. I wish I could break it, but I can't. You have to sleep in your bed. Mommy has to sleep in her bed. Okay, so once you separate, that's my advice, so that you don't end up in this situation again. Yeah. So hopefully that helps. Let me know if you have other questions. Okay, that's it. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in and listening. Again, check me out on Studio 5 next week. I'll post about when that's coming out. I'm super excited about that piece on the lies, baby sleep and the lies moms tell themselves. It's going to be super awesome, and I'll get a blog post out as well. Also, don't forget, no Q&A next week. I will be doing a live Q&A in Harriman, Utah on Thursday morning around 10, I think. So you can find that post on my website. Please share it. I'd love to get as many people there as we can and just help. Obviously, in-person Q&As are a lot more beneficial than online, because I can't ask questions and I can't get responses as quickly. So feel free to come to that. I'd love to meet you and see you. So those are some big things that we have going on. And then again, my newborn survival sleep guide, if you want it, just go to my website, sign up for my newsletter. And I'll put links for all of these. I'm going to put links to my blog post with my recommendation for a noise machine that I finally bought myself and used and love it. And my child's sleeping better and longer and earlier and everything better. Yeah, so I'll put that up there, a link to my website, and information for the Q&A next week. So thanks so much, you guys. If this was helpful, feel free to share this video on your wall, like it, love it, whatever, just so people can get the word out that this is available, that they have this resource where they can get some help, some personalized help for sleep, because it is hard to find and priceless. So thanks so much, you guys, and I'll not see you next week here, but hopefully see you in Harriman for my live Q&A. Okay, thanks. Bye-bye.